starting. All right, you are live.
To our thousands of listeners.
That's right.
Hello, folks.
Oh, it's a bunch of zeros right now, sorry.
So Nancy didn't check in like she said she would. All
Well,
right.
she might have tried. Oh,
Wait a
one
second.
viewer.
Did you give me
Hi, Nancy.
I did.
This one's from last week. No, you probably gave it to me. I completely believe it. I probably threw it over here. I did look. I threw the wrong one in here. So I had two because I was here last
Okay.
week.
Yep.
Hello, folks. We're all three municipal offices are here. And our town clerk and our select person's assistant.
And we're rubbing sticks together to get fire going.
Yes, we're waiting on a furnace repair. So, town clerk's usually up. He might have to run out in the middle to see what's going on with the furnace, but give it a start, Dave.
Okay, yeah, I really don't have much. Just curious if we've done anything about the plow complaints. There's
Well,
any discussion with...
Discussion with the plower.
Okay.
Of course, he had good reason. So they did. I called him during the storm,
Yeah.
and he did have one truck down. He didn't realize it when I called him. That it was a valid complaint that they hadn't been there at all. And he said, "Oh no, we've been there at least one time." And I'm thinking, well, that's only one side of the road. And come to find out, he called me back later and he said, no, they were right. They had never even made it. There was a couple roads that it was like 10 o'clock in the morning that they still hadn't been there.
Yeah.
So that was like 8 inches of snow, like right before the rain started.
Right.
So anyways, that truck was broken. Not surprised. I don't know if you've seen the truck, but I'm not surprised. So
Is it
Anyway.
fixed?
we're gonna get through this.
Does he know what?
The truck, well, I don't know. I mean, he got it fixed and used it the rest of that storm. The fan belt kept coming off. He said
okay.
it overheated but so that was that. Now, I'm not sure. The complaints weren't even, the written complaints weren't even for that road. That was just called in complaints to me.
Yeah.
And so the written complaints were for Cram Road. I haven't been over to Cram Road, but he had it was kind of touchy but I mean, they just need to use more material off the get-go, when it's going to be like that. Maybe it's still part of the learning curve for them, but they can't let it get treaded down with no salt down the road, or else it turns into ice immediately. And but to his credit, Brownfield, Denmark were horrendous. Porter, even 160 was horrendous. They didn't get salt down the first trip, and it packed, and so they had like this much ice on, and you can't get it up, and it was cold. It doesn't go anywhere. It's there that's a learning thing. Someplace where the sun doesn't hit, you got to make sure you get enough salt down to initially to start the whatever's going on. And
Okay, well, as long as there's
he acknowledged it, and he gave us 3 or 4 things that he can do better that he'll work on
Okay.
with a long response. So
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know what
That's
else we
good.
can
Just,
do.
like I say, just having a communication line
Right.
open is what's
Yep.
critical. Yep. Okay. Personnel policy, I actually did take a look at, but I did not get very far with. That's still in the works. ARPA funds, I'm sure you'll tell me about if there's anything new there. Taxes, we're up to 91% of our 2021 commitment being either collected or paid in discounts. And we're still at 16 accounts for the 2019, so those are the ones that will be getting the 30-day notices early next month. Other than that, really not much there. I have to ask my perennial question, any movement on the mill?
No.
Okay. I mean, not okay, but,
All I can gather from it is that we're still waiting for the court to give some document that says that we're free and clear. That's all I can gather from it. Right? No?
Yeah.
We can't sign, or they won't sign until we have a
Until
document
they
that
get
says
something
that's
from the court,
free and
yeah.
clear. So,
Okay, that's really about it. Anything for me?
Just a note, your next to last item, electronics disposal.
Yeah,
Jesse might want
well,
to.
I don't think that guy knew what he was talking about, per se. Might have put his foot in his mouth.
yeah,
Last night at our rescue meeting, one of the Hiram selectmen mentioned that there was an open door for Cornish to come to Tri-Town. And I immediately said, well, that's not at all what we heard in Parsonsfield. And he goes, well, I don't know why not. Granted, he's not on the board or anything.
Tri-Town.
And Porter immediately kind of went, but it does sound like there is a future, not for trash disposal, but for bulky goods, electronic goods. You're gonna have to pay, obviously, and we're gonna pay more than Porter pays.
Yeah.
But we'll be able to get rid of them, hopefully.
hopefully.
Sounds like we'll be able to work something out.
That would be
But
wonderful.
they need to get their scales working, their
Yeah.
new scales working, but it sounded like they need, to work something out, and they're gonna make it worth their while to take
Yeah.
our
Oh,
stuff, which
absolutely.
I completely get, but it
Yeah.
would be so worth our while for somebody to not have to drive to Portland.
Yeah.
So-
And to be able to do it when they need to have it done.
Correct, and not have to
wait
store
for
their
Yeah.
computers for
Our
6
schedules.
months or a year or
Yeah.
2 years or 5 years or whatever, just to be able to take it and, So I'll be
Good.
looking into that more as we progress
That
here.
would be
Okay.
super.
Yeah.
We could do
That
that.
would be interesting.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Didn't take me long to pick up on that. did it?
I
After you
heard
fell off
that.
your
I
chair?
said,
Yeah,
well, that's one thing about putting the four towns together. I
right,
think we're talking,
right.
and we've made some very, important issues that seem to be coming up every once in a while. I think that's great.
Yeah,
That was one of the things when I was first started here. I said, gee, it'd be great to get the four towns together to
Right.
be able to solve some of these problems.
You gotta make it 5 towns if you're talking about Tri-Town, because
Well-
Tri-Town includes Baldwin.
correct.
Well, that's all right.
Correct.
5 towns is even better.
Right, but they don't come to the rescue meetings,
No.
Right,
obviously.
right,
so they
yeah,
won't
they're
be
not
able-
part of
yeah.
rescue. No,
But I mean, it's something. It's a start.
yeah,
Enough,
Just to
I mean,
get
enough
over it.
generations of selectmen go through there, and eventually they might forget that we didn't want to be a part of it. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it was so much us. It was just. I
sure
don't-
it was.
Yeah,
Town
we
voted.
didn't want to
No, I know they didn't want
participate.
it, but I mean, they could have worked something out at the beginning.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, in the beginning, there were probably hard feelings. I
Right.
imagine, yeah. All right, well, that's good information, thank you.
It's hopeful
Yeah.
information.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. No, I certainly won't spread it around.
Right.
Although it's,
All right, anyone listening, you forget what you heard.
It's hopeful, I'll keep at it.
yeah, excellent. All
All
right,
right,
have anything else for me?
I hope not.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go check and see if anybody's here. I'll be back.
Dave, if you need to leave, I mean, I can wait.
All right, well, we'll see how it goes.
Up to
Yeah.
you, whatever
Yeah.
you want to do.
Yeah, I don't have anywhere to go tonight. No
Oh.
hot dates.
And Leslie's home, waiting patiently.
Back in a minute.
All right, so, actually, the next 3 or 4 things are very routine. It's just approving the bills and the minutes from last week's meeting and our current bills. Nothing dramatic. All the bills are what they should be. This week, we're paying the school, which is about half of our budget, trash vendors, and snowplow vendors, so it's an expensive week. We have no current ads in the shopping guide. The CEO had nothing to report. The York County Sheriff's report, he bills us quarterly. He billed us for the last half of the last quarter of last year, and We disputed the charges because obviously our deputy has not been working 40 hours a week for us the last quarter of last year. So, and he wrote us a letter back in, the sheriff wrote us a letter back in March of last year saying, you know, we're only gonna bill you for what your deputy works. If he doesn't work for the town, you don't get billed. So, we're not getting billed. That'll probably take a week or so to straighten out. And there's obviously been, as you folks know, there's been some discussion about discontinuing the deputies for the 6 towns that have them. They are in a severe manpower shortage, York County Sheriff's Department. And they feel they can better serve the residents by not having contract people and just putting more people out on the road.
But they aren't even putting people out on, I mean, they aren't gonna put any more people out on the road because they don't have more people. They're just gonna put the contracts out.
Right, they're gonna reallocate the contract.
Yeah,
people.
they'll, a broader range.
Right. So it's gonna be, obviously the town wants our contract deputy, so we'll just keep, hate to say play it by ear, but we'll just,
I don't think we have a big choice in the matter,
well, if he
really.
doesn't want to give us contract deputies, then we
Right.
can't get a contract deputy. But we will continue to make sure that we don't pay for something we're not getting and try and get our deputy back. Animal control officer, her basic report. You know this person, Christine, works for Parsonsfield and she works for Cornish. So she divides up her calls between the 2 towns, obviously. Hillside, Maple Crest, a couple of North Roads, a couple of Elm Street. So the usual dogs, cats, nothing exciting. Planning board is putting together a new format for site plan review. And they may or may not approve this at Wednesday's meeting. Not this one, not tomorrow.
No, just, we need to approve it.
Okay.
Basically, there's a couple of minor, one is that they wanted Jesse to approve that he has everything that he needed, which is at the head of the CEO review, completeness and acceptance. And so that's been added. As far as the back, it's been boilerplate all the way to the back, and they've, instead of going to a line item thing, they've gone to putting in all the abutters form here that they can easily use.
Okay.
And that's really all it is, but I'd like to get approval on it so they can go ahead and proceed with it. Any complaints? Anything you see that might be?
If they don't know what they need by now,
Well, they do, and that's why.
I'm not gonna jump in and say,
Yeah, you know.
no, you don't need this. It's a difficult enough job as it is.
So it's an okay.
Yep. And we've talked about the solar update. I don't know, Do you know what happened to that, Harper? They just
Well, they,
come out and visit and say hello?
no, they didn't come out. They canceled that because they said the ground was too frozen. I don't know what they were gonna do in the ground, and I'm not sure what they thought it was supposed to be this time of year, but I don't know.
Oh, the solar people?
Yeah, I don't know what they were testing for, because they tested everything they could in that place this summer. They dug holes all over the place. I'm not sure what they're looking at.
I keep seeing more and more of them popped up in places I didn't realize.
What?
Solar panels,
Yeah.
solar fields, whatever.
So, I guess it's a matter of information that we don't have, which I've got to try and get a hold of, find out what they're doing. I don't want to go down there someday and find all the trees gone and they haven't re-signed their permits or anything like that.
Right.
So,
Nothing is, you heard us describe to David, new on the mill of Stanley Building. Saco River Corridor Commission, still flowing, but nothing going on there, obviously. Shakopee Rescue, it's coming to fruition. It looks like there's a new contract being circulated among the 4 towns with revisions by Shakopee Rescue and the town actually bringing more rescue equipment into the equation. We would now have one fully manned ambulance all the time and another fully manned ambulance 30 hours a week. Maybe Jesse can give us a little more information on, he did some mutual aid statistics and
Yeah, I wrote it down right here somewhere. It's, the mutual, well, I got it on the, right here. So we had 2021, we had 958 of our own calls. There was 958 calls to Shakopee Rescue. 141 of them went to mutual aid, which was 15%. We helped on 26 calls for our, as we were mutual aid for 26 calls. So we're trying to improve that. Hopefully Rescue will have a good idea or somewhat of an idea where they can implement those extra 30 hours to start, to try to pick up those calls that they're missing. You know, it's hard when they get 3 calls to a time. I assume that, you know, and that does happen, or even 2 calls to a time at the same time. They just can't, you know, and they're never going to be able to pick up the 3rd one. So, but if we could pick up some of the times when we have 2 calls at a time, that would be great. Hopefully they can figure that out, and this is just a first step, really, and maybe add another shift, you know, the following year, and so forth until we see fit, or we think we need to go to the 2nd ambulance full time. But this is the first step. So it's going to be a big price jump from what you've been used to paying, but it's a price cut from what we'd be paying from another vendor. So we're going to stick with Shakopee and hope we can all make it work. Hope they can make it work with what we need.
and they've guaranteed to give us reports
Correct. That's in the contract.
on a monthly basis.
Although we have that in the sheriff's contract too, and they didn't want to give us reports.
But they,
They came around after Ed bothered them long enough.
2 years.
So, yeah, so that would be nice to get would be nice to get reports so we know month to month how we're doing, how many calls we're missing, you know, things like that. Otherwise, we really don't get many complaints on the ambulance service, so I expect this to only, you know, can only help.
Yep. It's important to realize that due to our remote location, we can't really measure the ambulance service on its response time. All we can really measure is how long it took for a fully equipped ambulance to get out of the barn. That's it. And we're saying there's been some discussion, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, but there'll be some guidelines there. And they'll be measured against those guidelines. So if it's 5 minutes and the ambulance leaves 5 minutes after the call came in, as we talked about last night, they don't stop for coffee on the way, so they're gonna get there when they get there, as safely as they can. I mean, if it's snowing, rain, who knows? But they'll get there. So the point is to get them out of the barn within the 5-minute guideline. After that, they'll just get there as soon as they can. And the other important thing is to make sure we have the properly credentialed people on the ambulance. It's tough when you send an ambulance out and people are meeting people and trying to hook up with people and picking. It's just much easier if you send out 2 qualified people to begin with and they're there. So hopefully in the next month or so, the contract issues will be resolved. I have no idea when the new service would start or the new
Upgrade to the service.
upgrades would start.
I would think shortly, I would think it would have to start when the contract starts.
April maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, and then from there, we'll have to figure how much more Parsonsfield will have to pay for the new contract. We're at a little bit of a, not disadvantage, but we're a little different because our town meeting is in September, theirs is in March, the other 3 towns, so there's a little work that has to be done to make sure the numbers correspond, so that Parsonsfield doesn't pay any more for the service than it should be paying. But, Ron Silver from Porter's put a lot of work into this, and he interviewed other ambulance companies, and we thought we had one that could do a good job, as Jesse mentioned, and then we found out their cost was thousands, tens of thousands more. So to getting people involved, I want to thank Harvey, I think, for getting Sean Beckworth involved.
Saban.
Saban.
Yes.
Sean. Saban, well, close. Say, with the rescue board,
Yep.
we need one more. Harvey, keep looking. We need another person.
We all signed that.
Yeah, we're gonna need people for the budget committee
Yeah, I'm
too,
not gonna pay it.
this year.
No, I'm just gonna.
So people, I mean, I know it's
Reminder.
a pain in their rear end sometimes, but try and get involved in a little bit anyways. I know it's not very rewarding, but the town is only better when more people give input. Otherwise, you just go along with 2 or 3 people that may or may not agree with what you agree with. So if you get involved, at least you can legitimately complain when it doesn't go your way. Otherwise, you really
Or
can't
say I
complain.
told you so.
Huh?
Or say I told you so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We have a letter from Judy Ingram, a person who gets very involved, concerning the pond, Long Pond, and what they're doing, and the boat ramp and that sort of thing, so. I know they're working very closely with, Long Pond Association is working very closely with West End Camp to try and ensure the water quality of the pond. Two commercial janitorial companies have been contacted. We're waiting for a price to do the gym floor and 5 restrooms. These are the floors. We'll see what it comes out to be. I mean, the floors certainly could use a good cleaning. So,
Well, after we clean them, we're not gonna use them.
we can't use them, right? We'll have to, maybe it'll be close to springtime, we could have outside meetings,
Yeah,
huh?
take your shoes off.
Right. Outhouse in the back. Revision solar buyout. If you remember, a month or so ago, we inquired with the Revision Energy. It's about time that our 6-year contract was up. We've saved up our $26,000 or so by putting some money aside every year. And they agreed the buyout date is February 8th. So they give us the paperwork and we give them some money and we start saving. And we don't know how much. We're going to try and let you know, but how much money we'll be saving by having our own solar and not in conjunction with Revision. Harvey was asking that question and no one really had an answer.
No, couldn't figure that one out yet.
So we have the floor cleaning companies, Darling Carpet and Floor Care Quality Cleaning, so. Yep. And just a note on the American Rescue Plan. We've come up with a couple things that we're working on. One is to get a cost from Spectrum. With the letter will be going out this week to Spectrum on how much it would cost to wire the town or parts of the town. If you divide where the people are living in clusters, so to speak, you have people inside the 160 corridor towards the town and people out in the Province Lake area. So those are those two areas encompass half the town as far as houses are concerned. So we're trying to get some pricing just to see if it's feasible to do that. It would be nice to offer cable and high-speed internet to everybody, or to a greater portion than we do now. We only have, I believe, 230 people on Spectrum. Harvey is working on the generator for the town hall, plus we need a new water heater too, but. So, and there's some other things that we're not quite sure what the rescue plan can pay for. They give you guidelines and then they say, but spend the money and then we'll tell you whether you were right or not. So we're trying to find out, what instance, whether if we need a new ambulance, which we're going to need at some point in time, could rescue pay for that? It's certainly a safety issue and a.
You'd think rescue would pay for rescue.
Well, that's it. Well, but yeah,
American
yeah.
Rescue.
Yes, good point. Good
Well,
point.
there are
It only
many-
took me a minute, Jesse, to figure out rescue.
I was reading through that booklet today that supposedly would tell you what it would pay for, but it's filled full of legal stuff that, in different letters and places you gotta go look. And
Well, I think that when we come up with what we want to do, like maybe this internet, which we feel pretty comfortable with, and
yeah, it did
the
say-
generator, we can call MMA and get an opinion from our legal people as to whether,
Well, it did say broadband would be one of the things that could be used.
Well, that's
So
what
that, I think, is probably
yeah,
a good thing, but I would still like to look towards getting, the town hall certified to be an emergency area
yeah.
through the Red Cross or some somebody in the state, better than going to Bonnie Eagle. Whether or not we could use that money towards the generator and towards,
Well, I'm sure we could-
making the
Yeah, I mean,
facility
that's a
up to
safety
date. I
thing,
think
too.
that might be an area for that money as well. But you gotta back it up before you spend the money on it, so.
And the last just a note here, what I talked about was the revision energy. We have 26,000 and change in a reserve account to buy out the system. And the town's opportunity to purchase the system begins on 2/8. So we'll be working for the next 2/8 or 2/15 to get that done. That's about it off the agenda. Harvey, you got anything extra, additional?
Personal, yes, but.
Personal.
No, I've been thinking about that Stanley building being 14 below zero outside, whether that building has been properly,
Well, there's no water going to it.
there won't be till spring. Once it thaws out, we never know. I guess that's probably my worry, not somebody else's.
Well, it's not, I mean, it's not our building, so.
Right.
I don't
No,
know.
I know, but.
You'd like to think it was drained properly and,
Yeah,
but
that's one more hurdle to get over if we do acquire the building, so, I don't, just my concern, I guess.
Jesse, you got anything spectacular?
No.
Or less than spectacular?
No, I don't. I spoke my piece.
All right. We have our honored guest here
Yep.
at all times.
Can I say something?
Jeff, you can be an alternate.
Yeah.
What, Jeff?
Broadband, shouldn't they just pay it themselves instead of the taxpayer?
Well, that's a good question. We're trying to differentiate. They got money to do it, to expand broadband.
Right.
Now, how that works, I'm not sure. We're just trying to get some,
I just don't want to see the taxpayer picking it up for cable.
I'm not gonna pay for it, Jeff, I can tell
And
you.
then cable makes them.
you're lucky you have a TV.
I don't want TV, and I'm just fine with my spotty internet.
Yeah. And you mentioned something about, the gym floor being waxed? The gym floor being possibly waxed?
Well, I didn't say wax, we said clean.
Oh.
Yeah,
No,
there's-
I don't know what they
There's a big
do.
difference between cleaning and waxing.
well, we'll find out when they call.
I'll get any
Strip
price.
When they come.
Because I come off the floor.
Right,
You're
no, we
hired.
know. This is a big, I don't know, we'll find
Yeah,
out.
yeah, you want
Yeah, I was just looking,
just to wash the floor, no.
no.
no, it isn't.
No, the other lady mops the floor.
Yeah, okay, and so we really need to think about all the stuff that's in the gym and find a place for it.
Well, we'll
Yeah,
find a place
right.
for it.
I know, we have the old sign that you made, maybe we
Yeah.
could put that somewhere, maybe hang it on a wall or put it in the
Yeah.
old town hall.
Once we get to that point, Jeff, that place will be clean as a whistle.
Okay. The other thing, the money that the government gave us, they're encouraging us to spend that money to get the things going. A lot of towns are not spending the money, so it's not going back into the economy, so that's the whole idea of it. It's supposed to be spent.
But we'd like to spend it on
I know you like that. but that-
meaningful things.
But that's what the government is saying right now, that we gave all this money away and now they're sitting on it. And all
Because-
that money's supposed to be, but if I give you $10 and you just put it in your pocket, it doesn't do any good unless you spend it, so.
What they don't tell you is that there's so many restrictions to
No,
what we
I get
have to
it,
do.
I get it. Well, you
It's-
gotta just find out what the restrictions are and do that.
Basically, we gotta find out what we can spend it on, because they haven't been very specific about that.
I mean, we could say, all right, we're gonna spend most of it on a reevaluation,
Yeah, yeah.
but I don't think you can do
I'm
that.
just saying, that's what some of government employees are saying, that it's the towns aren't spending the money, and that's why the.
Well, that's true,
economy's
but
taking
the
so long to get
reason-
back.
I don't wanna speak for all the towns, I can speak for Parsonsfield. The reason we aren't is because, number one, it takes time to make sure you're gonna spend the money properly.
Yeah.
Just as you said, like with Spectrum. I don't wanna spend money on Spectrum if they're supposed to be doing it.
They should be.
But that's something that has to be looked at.
Right.
Harvey wants to get some quotes on generators. We just wanna go out and
No,
put a
no,
$30,000 generator in, we can do it for 10.
I've been,
So-
I mentioned the generator, I don't know how many years ago, and.
Jeff, one step at a time, we're just getting to the floor.
I know, we don't wanna slip and fall.
What?
And,
Well, no, not yet.
one more thing, sometimes the meetings are so short, and then I have to write down some stuff.
That's a good thing.
Our website and the Shopper's Guide doesn't match. And I can give you the ad to the Shopper's.
Okay.
We've got numbers that, for the CEO, are on,
Thanks.
and the hours in the Shopper's Guide are different than what we have on our website. And the animal control officer has her phone number in the Shopper's Guide, but the website says to call York County. So
Yep.
it seems like one hand doesn't know.
No, that probably hasn't been updated.
Yeah,
Because
right.
different people do it, that's why.
Well, I know, and as it
But
said,
they should match, Jeff.
people should get involved, and that's what I'm trying to do. So, yep, all right, so that's it for me this week,
But there's always next week, Jeff.
and you know I'll be here.
You bring a tape recorder and we won't have to sit there and write.
No, it's more fun.
All right, folks, thank you for listening.